Hello and welcome to this special exclusive interview right here on Zambian Business Times with the head of the regional hub for Southern Africa and the Indian Ocean for the European Investment Bank, EIB, Mr. James Hodges. I'd love to welcome you to this interview.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Kindly provide an overview of European Investment Bank and its mission.
Yeah, so the European Investment Bank is an institution, an EU institution. It was developed under the Treaty of Rome in the 50s. And we are the European Investment Bank is the largest multilateral financing bank in the world. Last year in 2025, we lent 100 billion euros in exchange in a variety of sectors, a lot of it looking at climate and environment, innovation and technology, transportation, as well as, of course, supporting the private sector. Outside the EU, we operate on an umbrella, the banner of the EIB Global. And EIB Global is really tasked with fulfilling the ambitions of the EU Global Gateway Strategy. And that is designed to fill the investment gap needs on the continent in a partnership agreement with countries on the continent. And we have been operational in Zambia since 1978. So we've been actually in the country a very long time. And we've undertaken our projects in a number of ways, with direct investments with the government and utility companies in Zambia, as well as direct lending to corporates within the country. And also we've lent to smaller entities, private sector entities in that country through our local partners.
What is the history of EIB's operations in Zambia?
So as I mentioned, we've been here since 1978. So we've been here quite a long time actually. And we've done a number of sectors. We've worked in the energy sector, we've worked in transmission lines, we've worked in water, we've worked in transportation. So we've covered a lot of sectors where we've been here. We've worked both with the government, we've worked with the private sector, and we also, as I mentioned earlier, we are here to promote EU policies and EU objectives in the countries. And so we're very much looking to find partnerships with the European Union and the government of Zambia and activities in Zambia and the private sector where the EIB can help provide financing for those facilities.
What are some of the projects which you can share that have been most successful in Zambia?
So agriculture for us, we consider agriculture a very important sector to support in Zambia because of the amount of employment and the importance agriculture plays to food security in Zambia. So at the moment we're very focused on trying to support that. Through these programs we're also trying to support gender investing in Zambia. That's very important to us. But our scope goes beyond that. So you may have seen that we've done a lot of press recently with the European Union to support the Lido corridor. So we see Zambia as very important in a corridor for trade and investment. We see Zambia as being very progressive in terms of promoting women, for instance, in businesses. So it needs very much. So our objectives and needs are very much aligned in terms of Zambia and the European Union. And now we're looking, as I mentioned, under the Global Gateway, we're looking at certain areas of particular importance. So we're looking at health as an area we'd like to invest in more. We're looking at technology, sustainable development. We're looking at developing commodities trade that Zambia wants to do. So we see a number of areas under the Global Gateway where we can engage further with Zambia beyond agriculture.
Kindly share some of the successful investments in the country or different countries.
Yeah, we have a long history here. So we've worked on the Great North Road here, which people might be aware of. But we've been here even longer than that. Of course, we've worked with Lusaka, we've worked with water in the cities. We've worked with renewable energy, Zescosai to do that. We've worked with transmissions and connectors in Zambia. In the continent, in the region, there's a number of high-level projects which are at the moment now, which I'm very proud of and very happy to explain. One of them is we've done €1 billion commitment to the just energy transition in South Africa. So that project is designed to help South Africa meet its ambitions of moving away from dirty energy to clean energy. So we're very proud to be working with that. We recently signed a transaction with Transnet in support of that. We've got interconnectors, which I'm very proud of working through in Angola, which is bringing digitalization and communications to schools and facilities in Angola. We've also done a deal very recently with Axion in Madagascar, which will bring digitalizations and 4G and 5G terminals to both Madagascar and to Tanzania. And in Malawi, we've done a lot of work with water and sanitation. So we're bringing clean water for the first time to a lot of rural communities that were cut off from clean water supply. And we've coupled that with sanitation. And we're now in the process of helping those same utility companies with their renewable energy.
And what estimated number of beneficiaries are you targeting?
We don't really target a precise number of beneficiaries. So what we do is we create a framework for which our partners can invest in. So we are looking to invest in small, medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, that are working in the agricultural value chain. And so it's up to really our partners on the ground who know the market, know the region much better than we do. And it's up to them to go find the beneficiaries for us. So we with them agree what we're trying to invest in, how we try to invest in them. And it's up to them then to find the beneficiaries. So the actual target number of beneficiaries is difficult to say because that will be determined by our partners as we work through the process.
What criteria did you use to select the 3 banks, and is there any room for other banks in Zambia?
We're agnostic in terms of when we approach a market and who we work with in the market. It's important that our partners are able to carry out our criteria in our lending. So we have certain requirements that are required on, say, environment and gender. And we need a partner that's able to ensure that those criteria are carried on in their lending. So when we assess the market, we look at partners that are able to carry out our criteria from that perspective and meet our objectives. And also to be of a certain size, so they've got to be able to absorb an EIB facility, and they've got to be able to demonstrate that they're willing to invest in that sector that they're working in. They've got to be a partner after all with us, and we need to help them provide them, and they also need to then be looking to move and invest in that space. And the 3 partners we have under the agricultural value chain are fantastic. They've done very well, and very happy with the rollout so far we've had with them. It's determined.
What are the potential areas that Zambia can do to be able to attract competitive price capital?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very good question. And the cost of capital is something that's not only important for Zambia, but it's something that's global. Whether we're looking at most markets in the world, the cost of capital is one of the real key criteria. It's a difficult question to answer because it comes in 2 parts. So in order for Zambia to be attractive to foreign investors, they've got to have a regulatory and policies that match what foreign investors want. And Zambia needs to determine what those are to attract that capital. Companies in those sectors then need to make themselves attractive. So and that's really based around risk. So if you look at the agriculture facility that we've mentioned and talked about, agriculture is considered high risk because a lot of it is done on seasonality, on rain flows, etc. So it's been an area that banks and financial services have really shied away from, particularly small investors, small SMEs, smallholder farmers, because of the risk element to it. And they've tended to side it with sort of big, more established businesses where the risk is better known. So part of our facility is trying to see how can we address that. So it's got to be 2 parts, and there's got to be something done on the beneficiary side, but also something that we can bring to the table to help that. And that's what's really unique and very interesting about a facility, because it comes in 2 additional parts to the lending. It also comes with a project guarantee, and we help the banks take away some of that risk from investing in small farmers. So in that way, we are able to move banks or motivate banks to move into areas where the other might not be able to address. We also provide long-term financing to the banks, and that's very important because it helps in 2 ways. It means that our facilities are more affordable to the banks in terms of repayment because of the long-term tenors. But it also means that they can also long-term lend to the small SMEs in that field too. And that also helps to make them more attractive and better going through. And then we also then provide technical assistance. And so we're trying to work in 2 ways on technical assistance. One is to help the banks develop their capacity to lend to these areas that are currently considered high risk, and to better understand that risk so they can better lend into it. And then also technical support to the actual SMEs themselves. And that is to address some of the areas we spoke about, so to make their businesses more commercialized, to help them with financing, bookkeeping, to help them with learning sustainable agriculture and farming techniques. So in this way, we hope that we can then make it more attractive for foreign investments. And the EIB, we want to act as a catalyst. We want to bring more investment into the company. We want to show that this is a sustainable model and we can work forward. And I think we're achieving that.
What are some of the targets or qualifications that the farmers need to require for them to access the investment?
So this facility is focused on agricultural value chains. So really, it's quite broad. It's got to be a small company, and it's got to be in the agricultural value chain. And what we're looking for is companies that really can link smallholder farmers to the market, and that's where the SMEs are vital. And so we're looking at investing in companies that fit in that space within the value chain, so they can invest in their own facilities, they can invest in working capital and grow, and in that process grow smallholder farmers. So that's really the kind of companies we're looking for to come into the value chain. And then one part of the facility which is really important for us and for the European Union is the idea of gender lending. So the facilities come with a requirement that the banks, our partners, have to lend at least 30% to women-led or women-run businesses as part of that value chain. So we're looking for that criteria in terms of SMEs in the value chain, and we're also looking very much at supporting women within that value chain.
That's good. And the most final question, what are your primary targets? Are we looking at smallholder farmers alone, medium, or are we looking at also going to the extra farmers?
Yeah, so for us, it's definitely our key focus is in small and micro. That's really the sweet spot for us under the facilities. The larger corporates we can deal with directly, and so they're not really the audience for this space. We're looking at promoting small businesses that are based in Zambia, of course, and we're looking at saying how can we provide them with more capital and liquidity to grow, and how can we support them in terms of that technical support. So we're looking at that more smaller sized entities coming into the marketplace, and also, as I said, have got the linkages coming through. So that's really our focal point for the facility.
So my last question is concerning the farmers. We've got farmers that are multinational that are still doing business, agribusiness in Zambia. So which one would be the target? Because I think majority of them are commercial farmers from multinational.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I think they are part of the mix. But as I said, we're not looking at the large corporate multinationals. That's not really the audience here for us. I mean, those are the more well-established businesses which the banks can really interact with on their own. They don't need our support in this area. For us, and the objectives of the European Union, we're trying to develop sustainable development, economic growth, and food security. So for us, that's why the focus is not really in those very large multinationals, because they can do that work on their own. We're here to really find that partnership with the private sector and bring liquidity and bring financing to that private sector and hopefully grow this market. And this market is really important. Agriculture, I think people don't realize, is that it's not one of the biggest contributors to GDP in Zambia, but it's actually one of the largest employers of people in Zambia. So it's really a market, it's really an area that is strategic for Zambia, and it's strategic that Zambia can grow that. And out of all the produce that comes out, 80% is produced by smallholder farmers. So really this is the target that we need to grow and we need to develop in Zambia, because I think it's part of the mix in terms of economic growth for the country.
Right, and the final one, what advice would you like to give to Zambia that are in agribusinesses and how best they can handle it being global issues?
In the current environment, I think it's important that we start to look at diversification of our value chains, and we start looking at partners that share common interests, so we can build sustainability going through. So for the European Union, for instance, as I mentioned, areas like gender are important for us, and climate is very important for us, the environment is very important for us, and social community that we bring into the project is very important to us. So I think that my advice is to find partners that match your objective and your outlooks in terms of where they want to get to. I think Zambia is doing well, and I think we just need to do more. I think the challenge for us is really to find more investment to come in. I think from what I see, we're on the right track, and I think the facilities bear witness on that. The Zanaco facility we had, which is the first bank we signed up under the facility we have, is now fully dispersed, so that's all gone. And I think that's a testament to the need for the product, and it's a testament to how successful this product can be. So I think it's just more of the same. I think the challenge for us now is just bring in more investment, really, to boost this, this work we're doing now.
Thank Thank you very much. Besides the advice, is there any additional information that you would love to share?
I think we covered a lot. I think it's important. I think what I'd like to reiterate is that the European Investment Bank, as I mentioned, is the financial arm of the European Union. And so I think we're in a space now of looking, how best can we support that? How best can we support European values and objectives in Zambia? But also, what are the objectives of Zambia and how can we help support Zambia? So this idea of coming to a nice closer partnership, I think, is going to be very important. And working very closely with the European Union to blend grants into our funding to help them, like we have done with the agricultural value chain, where we've used grants to bring in the risk-sharing instruments, and we've also used grants to bring in the technical assistance. And I think this is very important for us going forward, that we find these blended models and work very closely with the European Union, but we also work very closely with Zambia to find these win-win partnerships going forward. So, I'm excited for the future ahead. We're a long-term investor in Zambia. We've been here for a long time, and we're going to be here for a long time. So I think for us, we don't take a short-term view, we take a long-term view on the country and where we can find that support coming through.
Okay. Thank you very much. And this has been your host, Francine Chue, right here on Zambian Business Times. Thank you so much for watching.